Hey, everybody, we are live at the Calvary Chapel Pastors and Leaders Conference, and I've got with me Tom from Calvary Chapel Magazine. Is that the right term?
You got it, brother.
Oh, that's great. So, this is so good. I saw him running around shooting with two cameras, two beautiful cameras, the only camera that really is the best camera, Nikon camera. A Nikon shooter, we have something in common.
We do, certainly. I've been shooting, I hate to say this, I've been using Nikons professionally since 1974, before all you men were born. What can I say?
Yeah. And you were like 2 years old, right?
No, I was like 19.
yeah. That's great. So, Tom, tell us what you do. What are you doing?
Yeah, so as in the 90s, as a news photographer, I was involved in Calvary Chapel. I was on the worship team. But I started hearing all these incredible stories about Calvary Chapel missionaries. Now, you gotta remember, from Virginia, in a small Calvary of about 50 people. And we heard all these amazing stories about people, missionaries from Calvary Chapel being in Russia. And I, as a news photographer, I'd been in Bosnia covering that war, covering the American troops over there as they came into Bosnia to end that mess of a war, the three-pronged war. My first Sunday back, there was a pastor there who you guys might know named Jack Hibbs at our little 50-person church, and he was talking about Russia, and I'm like, I don't understand it. Tell us about how can we, on our little Calvary Chapel on the East Coast, we never hear anything about what's going on with the Calvary Chapels. We're isolated. Why isn't there something that ties all this together? And Jack said, you're right, we should have something, but we don't. He said, why don't you come to Russia with me in September? And I said, sure. So I worked it out to go with Jack, and when I went there, it gave me a vision. Oh, there were so many Calvary Chapels in Russia at that time. There were 5 or 6 in Moscow, and there were 3 or 4 in St. Petersburg. And my heart was broken that all these wonderful things were happening, but nobody at the smaller churches actually knew what was going on. And so that gave me a vision. So I took the pictures that I used with that. And of course, some time had expired because I was a news photographer. I had a job to do. And then we had a Bible college in the Alps in Austria. I took pictures there, put a first issue together, just a little inkjet version, showed it to Pastor Chuck Smith when he came to the East Coast. And Chuck put it underneath his arm, tucked it, and said thank you, and walked away. I said, well, that's the dumbest idea I've ever had. That man must get so many things thrown his way. And but the next morning, he found me in the breakfast line. He says, you're the guy that gave that to me. I said, yes, sir. How'd you like it? He said, I love this. We got to get this published. He said, let's do 4 issues a year. Costa Mesa, Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa will take 6,000 copies of each issue. And then he said, the Lord has told me that you're going to be the editor, you're going to run this, and what's your name? And that's how it began. Yeah. And so that was 22 years ago that this adventure started out. And as I shared this morning, a year later, I met who would be my future wife at a Calvary Chapel in Hungary. And so it's been an amazing venture of faith as we have just covered what the Calvary's doing. We can't cover everything. God is doing so many things through the Calvary Chapels, but we shoot what we can. And since I'm a photographer, we use pictures very well.
Yeah, and that's great. Yeah, you always want to have a lot of images in there.
Right, yeah. So, and now because of COVID, we couldn't send 35,000 magazines to empty churches. So what we did is the Lord and we were online a little bit, but not like now. We really went all in online. We're still producing now 4 magazines a year, print, but we're also daily content. And if I can say, that's calvarychapelmagazine.org. And
one more time?
That's calvarychapelmagazine.org.
And so that's basically the magazine online, right?
Well, it's a little different than our print magazine. Some of the articles we use, like for instance, Pastor Chuck's wife just passed away, Kay Smith, and of course, we've had already 2 articles on some of the pastors' wives relating what an incredible, wonderful influence Kay was on their lives. Now, we'll certainly have a story on that. We'll probably take the best and put it together. So it's a different thing, but some of the same topics, but some things we cover online that we just don't have room for in the print issue. So we're trying to encourage people to go to our website and give us your email so we can send you these updates that we're doing every day of the week. Just so it's a lot of work to do this, as you know.
Yeah.
We want the Christian community, our Calvary Chapel family, to understand all these amazing things that God is doing in the name of Jesus, and it's amazing.
Tell us a little bit about a story that really shook you or blew your mind. Can you think of one?
Sure, of course. There have been so many that we've been around the world, but the most recent one that certainly impacted on me was when Wes Bentley from Far Reaching Ministries, who's the Calvary Chapel group that does amazing work around the world, he asked me to go to South Sudan, to their outpost out there, and do my usual, I did a story and photos and a video, but in addition to that, asked me to teach the first 50 books of the Psalms to the guys in training at the camp. So, and I got the afternoon shift to 3 one-hour classes in a row teaching these gentlemen who were there to be chaplains, but they also had to become combat-ready chaplains because they are going into combat. And so I had to take it down because we had no translator, and English is their second language. So you can imagine, in 100-degree heat, 100% humidity, and guys falling asleep, as well as their teachers sometimes, So we did a lot of push-ups. But amazing to see what God's doing. Guys are just on fire for Jesus over there. And they're spreading the gospel through that new country because it's relatively new. It's only been a country for 10 years now. They split off from the Muslim North, and they fought against them because the Muslim North was coming down and stealing their cattle, stealing their children, and it's just a major fight that they've been embroiled in. Some of these men have been fighting since they were 13 or 14 years old, and now they're 40. I had been to the Sudan to cover the famine as a news photographer back in '85, and the fighting began that next year. So this whole time, these men have been known nothing but fighting. But now, with the love of Jesus, I mean, you can see it, but they're warriors, but they're warriors for Jesus Christ.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So, to wrap it up, as a magazine, and how would you describe the vision for what you're doing?
Right. Well, my vision, it's always been with this, is to glorify God and to share those stories that will inspire people. When they see people like you and me, just normal people, and as some of the missionaries, to some of the people I just talked about with Far Reaching Ministries, just regular, everyday people just doing extraordinary things for Jesus under that banner. And to encourage the flock, to encourage the family of Christ to get out of the bleachers and get in the fight, because there's a fight going on for the souls of this world, and until Jesus comes back and takes the church out, there's no timeouts. So that's our goal, is to get everyone engaged. And however, it's just prayer warriors. We need prayer warriors that are just praying. They're in their prayer closet just praying for the gospel going out. We certainly need prayer for this magazine, as we obviously, the enemy wants to attack us and wants to discourage us and shut us down. And there have been many attempts coming from many different directions, as you can imagine. But that's the goal, is to just lift up the name of Jesus and just to encourage the family that we have, this small Calvary Chapel family. That's the little piece of pie that God gave us 22 years ago. That's what we cover, and that's more than enough.
Well, thanks so much for your time. You're having a great time at the conference here?
This awesome is amazing. This is the first time I've been able to come to this, and it's been such a blessing for me. Of course, I hate to overuse that word, because when someone sends me a story and says it's a blessing, I send it back. I said, don't use that. Tell me why it was a blessing. But it has been wonderful, and just the people at Calvary Chapel Honolulu just have just have a welcoming spirit about them. You ever-
Well, if you need a photographer here in Hawaii, let me know. I know
I'll
someone.
get your number.
All right. Well,
That's-
thanks so much for your time, Tom, and
Of course.
the Lord bless the rest of the trip for you here. How long are you here for?
Well, my wife and I, Olgi, who's Hungarian, and she and I will be here till not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday after.
Fantastic. Well,
So-
enjoy your time here in Hawaii.
We will. We're looking forward to it. Once we get past this little hurricane that's coming.
Yeah. No, it won't be too bad.
Okay,
But
that's
hey,
what Wayne tell me.
yeah, that's right. It won't be. It just means good surf. So
There you
get out
go.
and do some surf photography.
Okay,
We'll
man.
hook up, and
Okay.
I'll tell you some good places to shoot too.
All right. Sounds
Yeah.
good, man.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
No worries, Tom. God bless you, bro.
God bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
you doing?
Aloha,
Daniel?
brother.
Aloha, we're here at the conference today. I'm with Chris. Chris, tell me about your company and what do you do with this company?
Actually, it's not a company, it's a church.
Oh, wow.
I am the administrative pastor over at Calvary Chapel, Pearl Harbor. And within our ministry, we have multiple ministries within the church, but one of them is a place for women, which is a pregnancy center, pro-life pregnancy center. And it's a medical clinic as well. So we have a medical director, Dr. Vivian Wong, who is our medical director, as well as multiple nurses that do ultrasounds for the patients that come through our pregnancy center. And for years, though, we've been praying to be able to expand our services to a wider reach within the island, because not everybody can make it over to Waipio, to our physical location. And so for years we've been praying for the opportunity to bring a mobile unit onto the island, and it's a full medical mobile unit to be able to take patients, and we'll be able to move that unit around the island and serve different communities as we do so, and it basically allows us to expand our services to all of Oahu.
Wow, that's awesome. So you literally have a mobile unit that you go into different communities. How do they hear about if you're coming, or is it like, get in line? What does it look like?
Well, yeah, so there will be a walk-up service. So what we hope to do is be in the community and on a regular basis, and so that people get used to seeing us there. And then also, just like our current center, we have people that call in, find us on the internet, and now we'll have the option of, hey, do you want to come into our Waipio location, or we can see where they live, and if they're near one of our mobile locations during the day, the right day of the week, then they'll be able to just come to us at the mobile location.
That is awesome. So it's like a free service for them, or tell me about what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything in all of our services are free. It's supported by the community, and that goes for our in-person location in Waipio, as well as this mobile unit. God has just done an amazing work with this mobile unit, and has brought together multiple partners with us in order to bring it on island. But it's still an ongoing expense as well to maintain it. So we're going to need community support to continue to offer these free services to our community.
So could someone actually have a baby in this unit?
No, it's not a full OBGYN unit or anything like that. It's intended for when someone thinks they're pregnant and they need a pregnancy test, then we got free pregnancy testing. And then those who do think that they're pregnant and they're just not sure what to do, and they just need someone to talk to and someone to pour hope into them. We're there to do that. All of our services, we use evidence-based information, medical information to share with them, and help them build their family.
That is awesome. What a great service to help these women that are pregnant, or really families that just are scared, don't know what to do,
Exactly.
and just give an option to get educated, to kind of like that bridge to the next step, right? So that's so amazing. So tell me, what's big picture? Are you trying to have 10 of these on the island, across islands? Tell me a little bit more about the 40,000-foot view of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, we really don't think you need that many. You don't need 10 on island in order to serve the community. When you look at the size of our population and then the percentage that is looking at a pregnancy situation, we're really confident that with our existing location and this mobile unit, we'll be able to serve a large percentage of the community. So we need to get this one up and running before we start talking about any more. And even this one is just there was no easy task. I mean, it was manufactured in Ohio, So my wife is the executive director for the pregnancy center, and the two of us had to go to Ohio for training and to pick up the unit, and we had to drive it 2,700 miles across the United States to get it to Oakland so that we could put it on a Matson ship and get it over to the islands. And neither one of us driven a motorhome before. It's a 28-foot long motorhome, so it was quite the challenge to be able to navigate high winds, crosswinds, trucks, construction zone. Yeah, I had no idea how much you had to pay attention to be able to drive one of these things, and so it was a challenge. But God is good. We had a whole team of people praying for us the whole time we were doing that, and so we made it.
That's awesome. So behind the scenes, there was a lot of preparation and a lot of vision and a lot of things, and really finances to make this operatable. And now you need continual support. So if someone says, man, I love what they're doing, how can they support you? Where do they go? What are some of the challenges you're facing right now? And then where do they go to help you solve those solutions or have solutions for those problems?
Yeah, so our website for our partners is apfwpartners.com, apfwpartners.com. And yeah, I mean, one of the challenges is it gets 7 miles to the gallon, and it costs $300 to fill the tank. It's got 80-gallon tank, so it's more than $300. So that's just one cost. Yeah, the insurance to operate it as well, the affiliation fees, the all the medical piece of it. I mean, it's a full-blown medical center with ultrasound and everything, because the ultrasound is such an important tool to dispelling any myths of it's a blob of cells or anything like that. There's people need to see what's inside them and see it real time.
So awesome. So go to that website. That's how they learn more about it and how to support.
Yeah.
So we're going to go check it out. You can give me a tour about what it looks like?
Yeah, let's do a quick tour.
All right, let's go.